Hi, I'm Kira. Welcome to my channel. It is time to pick my August TBR, and looking at my TBR that I picked in July, out of the 8 books, I currently have not read a single one. I haven't finished reading a single one. It is July 27th as I'm filming this. I am currently reading and will have 2 of them finished by the end of the month, but haven't even thought about picking up the other 6. So I will put them on the screen and tell you the 2 that I did read from the list and what I rated them. But the rest of them, we're just gonna toss back onto the shelf right now. We are going to be using my TBR roulette cards, but I am kind of missing my old TBR jar prompts that I came up with myself. They're just kind of a little more specific and a little more fun. So I think I'm going to do half and half of them. I'm going to pick 8 books because I have 8 slots to fill up on my TBR list in my reading journal. I'm going to pick 4 cards and 4 prompts from my jar. And I think I'm going to go back and forth. Let's start with the cards because they're already out. Give them a quick shuffle. Let's go straight for the middle. Choose a book by an indie author. Let's see if my brain can pull something. Let me Google something. I'm gonna go with this one because I don't for sure know if this author is still indie published, but I think I have an indie published version of the book. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. I've been wanting to read this for years and just haven't gotten to it, and I finally picked up a physical copy of it at a market I was vending at a couple months ago because it was in one of the book buses that are in my area and it was on the thrifted shelf for only $4. So I figured, why not? Football romance. Let's read the back. For years I've dreamt of what college life could bring, and while some things changed, there was always one constant. It didn't matter how wild I allowed my imagination to run, it always led me to the same place in the end. It led me to him. My future was clear and he was it, until suddenly he wasn't. Now I'm a shell of who I was, on a path too blurry to follow, and I see no way out, no way up. They say first loves last forever. That's exactly what I'm afraid of. Football, college romance. I think I've only ever read one other football romance, and that, or I guess maybe 2. The Cheat Sheet and the Rule Book by Sarah Adams. It's not my go-to sports of choice, but not opposed. I've heard fantastic things about this book, so I'm hopeful. So that's gonna be our first one for an indie author. Book 2, we're gonna pick from the jar. Okay. A good first line. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick like the ones that are most on my radar right now and go off of that. I do have one book that I need to get on this TBR, so maybe we check that one first. And that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, book 4 of the Hunger Games, because I'm on a schedule for reading these books by the time Sunrise on the Reaping comes out, which I did just pick up the paperback version that just released like 2 weeks early at Barnes, and August is the month I need to read this so that I can read that in October before the movie comes out. So let's see what this first line is. Coriolanus released the fistful of cabbage into the pot of boiling water and swore that one day it would never pass his lips again. That was quite boring. So we're gonna try and do that for a different one. I just picked up Strange Houses, so let's see what that first line is. A message from a friend. I'm a freelance writer, my specialty being stories of the macabre. Okay, not super like intriguing. Okay, we have One Golden Summer. A great photograph makes you think you know the subject even if you've never met. That's a good option. Wings of Starlight. There are things hidden from all except those who know exactly where to look. Missing in Soho. I'm just picking up like the ones that are my most recent purchases because they're like on my mind that I want to read them the most. Friday Morning. Misty's white suit was ruined. That didn't really give me anything. You go with a Frida book. I'm sure this has a good first line. Transcript of police interview with Erica Cass. That's not super interesting. What about The Divorce? That's the newest one. When the police arrive, how will I explain the dead bodies in the house? I think we found our winner. I knew Frida wouldn't let me down. Did I read? Don't think I read a Frida book last month either, so I need to read one this month. We're gonna go with The Divorce by Freida McFadden. This is her newest release. I think it's still the newest. It came out in May. What is a happily ever after really worth? Naomi was living the quintessential love story. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, get married, buy a dream house, start a family. Then he kicks her out, hires the city's best divorce lawyers, drains their accounts, and takes up with a 20-something. It's a brutal end to the story. Naomi should accept defeat, move into a dingy apartment, get back into the workforce, and piece together the shattered remains of her life. Except why should she? Instead, Naomi fixates on her husband's new girlfriend. What begins as cynical curiosity soon twists into obsession, and then into something far darker. As Naomi uncovers secrets she never imagined, she realizes her own life may be in danger, but if it keeps her perfect family intact, isn't it worth it? Freedom McFadden delivers a razor-sharp, subversive thriller where love curls into vengeance and survival becomes the most dangerous game of all. That's all I need to know to go into it. I'm excited. This will be a nice palette cleanser for all the fantasy I read in July. This might be one of my next reads. Back to a card for book number 3. Let's do from this side this time. Read a book that has won an award. I'm not going with like a super fancy award. I just googled one that I thought could have won some kind of award and we're going with it. Okay, we are going to go with the Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. According to my research, it says it won the Goodreads Choice Award for Best Nonfiction in 2021. That's what we're going with for award. I'm on a mission to finish the 3 John Green books I have not yet read in his backlog before his new book comes out at the end of September? I think the end of September. So I have 2 more months to read 3 books. And this is one of them. His second most recent release. I have John Green's signature in green Sharpie. I also pre-ordered the new book signed because why not? The Anthropocene is the current geologic age in which humans have profoundly reshaped planet and its biodiversity. In this remarkable symphony of essays adapted and expanded from his groundbreaking podcast, best-selling author John Green reviews different facets of the human-centered planet on a 5-star scale, from the QWERTY keyboard and sunsets to Canada geese and penguins in Madagascar. Funny, complex, and rich with detail, the reviews chart the contradictions of contemporary humanity. As a species, we are both far too powerful and not nearly powerful enough, a paradox that came into sharp focus as we faced a global pandemic that both separated us and bound us together. John Green's gift for storytelling shines throughout this masterful collection. The Anthropocene Reviewed is an open-hearted exploration of the past we forge and an unironic celebration of falling in love with the world. So they're just like a bunch of short essays of John Green reviewing different things in our world. So I think this would be like really fun to like read one of them a day or something. I've had this book since like the week it released and I haven't touched it, but my favorite thing is he literally does a review for every single page of this book. Like he literally does a review for his autograph and like the concept of autograph pages. There's a review of the copyright page, a review of this title page, a review of his other books page. It's just like the funniest concept for a book I find and so interesting. I'm excited to dive into this and it's pretty short and I think it's gonna fly by if I just read an essay a day. Alright, book 4, back to the jar. A recent purchase, I think I'm gonna go with Strange Houses by, I'm going to butcher this name and I'm so sorry, Yukitsu, the chilling Japanese mystery sensation. I don't think this is the first book in the series, but there's like 3 different ones right now and they're all like mysteries, but they're like interactive and there's like blueprints of houses. When a writer fascinated by the macrame is approached by an acquaintance, he finds himself investigating an eerie house for sale in Tokyo. The building with its bright and spacious interior seems like the perfect first home, but upon closer inspection, its floor plan reveals a mysterious dead space hidden between the walls. Seeking a second opinion, the writer shares the layouts with his friend Kirihara, an architect, only to discover more unnerving details throughout. What is the true purpose behind the house's disturbing design, and what happened to the former owners who disappeared without a trace? When a body suddenly appears and a young woman reaches out about a second house, it soon becomes clear that the writer and his friend may be in over their heads. In Strange Houses, mystery horror YouTube sensation Yukitsu casts readers in the role of detective, inviting them to help map out the truth hidden within a series of chilling and puzzling floor plans and terrifying plot behind it all. I have been seeing these books for months at Barnes and thinking the covers looked so cool and interesting, and like I would flip through them and I was like, I don't know, seems a little strange, not sure if I'd be into it. But within the last few weeks, a recent Smosh Mouth podcast episode, I don't know how it got to this, but they started doing some book recommendations. I think it was their Slip It In episode and they got to book recommendations and Shane recommended this one. It was the first time I had actually heard someone talk about it and what it's about, and the way he described it as being like interactive with the reader as well made me 10 times more interested in it. So I finally picked it up and I think he talked about this one specifically, so this is the one I picked up. Although like I said, I think Strange Pictures is like the first of this series and there's also one like Strange Buildings or something, but I went with this one. I'm very excited to see what this one is. It's really short, under 200 pages, so I'm gonna fly through this and hopefully I like it so I can go get the other 2. Book number 5. Read the first book that is on your TBR list. Let me go get my reading journal and we'll go that way. I just grabbed my reading journal. We are gonna go look at my physical TBR list. I have 2 separate lists. I have a list for 2026 new additions and purchases to my physical TBR, and I have a list from years past that I've brought into this year. So we're gonna go with that one, the older books. I have 2 pages of them, so we're just gonna go the top of the list. So here is the first page of the list, and then This is the second page. We're gonna go with the top of this side. I haven't looked yet. I'm going to cover and reveal. Soul Searching, read it. Oh no. The first one on that list that I have not yet read is Magnolia Park by Jessa Hastings. This was on my TBR for June or May, and I didn't get to it. My bestie annotated and decorated this for me for Christmas last year, so it hasn't been on my list for too long. It was literally the last book I received in 2025 and wasn't able to get to. Shall we read the back, even though I'm sure almost all of you probably know what this is about or have read it already. How many loves do you get in a lifetime? Magnolia Parks is a beautiful, affluent, self-involved, and mildly neurotic London socialite. B.J. Valentine is Britain's most notorious and photographed bad boy who broke her heart, but these two are meant to be and everyone knows it. Magnolia and BJ are written in the stars, just suspended in a strange kind of love that looks like hurting each other a lot of the time. She dates other people to keep him at bay, he sleeps with other girls to get back at her for it. But at the end of their every sad endeavor to get over one another, it's still each other they crawl back to. Finally, after years of this, their dysfunction is catching up with them, pulling at their seams and fraying the world they've built. But they're not ready to let go, not yet at least. As the cracks start to show and secrets begin to surface, Magnolia and BJ are forced to face the formidable question they've been avoiding all their lives. How many loves do you really get in a lifetime? From what I've heard, this seems like Chuck and Blair vibes from Gossip Girl, and then also like the British version of the Addicted series, kind of, is the vibes I'm getting from it. I have no idea if I'm gonna like this. I've heard so many mixed reviews of it, that's why I have not yet read it, but the bestie finally read it last year to annotate it for me because she knew I hadn't read it and she also wanted to read it. So it was the perfect book for her to do it for my Christmas present, and probably the only way I would have actually picked it up relatively soon. So the TBR is making me do it, I guess. Alright, book 6 in the jar. Starts with random letter using a generator. It's starting on B. Let's see. F. Ooh, wait, I have one, but do I want another thriller on the list? I mean, I kind of am in a thriller mood. I haven't read one for a bit. Okay, this is a fairly recent purchase. This is First Light Winds by Ashley Elston. I've heard so much about this book and about this author, good things, and I finally just picked it up while I was at Pal's a few months ago. So, Evie Porter has everything a nice southern girl could want. Doting boyfriend, a house with a white picket fence, a tight group of friends. The only catch, Evie Porter doesn't exist. Okay, see, I have never actually read the back of this or any clue what it's about, so that's surprising. The identity comes first. Evie Porter. When she's given a name and location by her mysterious boss, Mr. Smith, she learns everything there is to know about the town and the people in it. Then the mark, Ryan Sumner. The last piece of the puzzle is the job. Evie isn't privy to Mr. Smith's real identity, but she knows this job will be different. Ryan has gotten under her skin, and she's starting to envision a different sort of life for herself. But Evie can't make any mistakes, especially after what happened last time. Evie must stay one step ahead of her past while making sure there's still a future in front of her. The stakes couldn't be higher, but then Evie has always liked a challenge. Okay, there's also a fairly short one, so I'm very interested to get to this. This TBR is honestly stacking up to be pretty good for me, honestly, at this point. I'm liking all the choices on here. Back to the cards for book 7. Choose the most popular book on your shelf. I feel like I could go for The Hunger Games with this one because that is like one of the most popular series of all time. I know Wings of Starlight was super popular last summer or something when it came out. I think I'm gonna go with The Hunger Games. Even though this one isn't like popular right now, I'm bending the rules because I'm gonna be reading this either way, so I might as well put it on the TBR some way somehow. But we're gonna go with The Ballad of Songbirds and Snake by Suzanne Collins. This is book 4 in the Hunger Games series, but it is a prequel, and it is Lucy Gray's Hunger Games with President Snow as her mentor, and we learn a lot more about the Capitol. I have seen the movie, obviously, but I am reading the Hunger Games books for the first time. I've mentioned my history with the Hunger Games multiple times. I think I probably did my last TBR video or the one before that when I picked Mockingjay to read. First time reading this book. This is the longest, over 500 pages. I did really like the movie, and I liked how it was a pretty good balance of both the games and also like the political stuff like the first two books were. That's the reason why like Mockingjay is my least favorite movie and was my least favorite book when I read it a couple months ago, because it's like all political stuff, but I like the games and the action of the games, so I like the balance between the two. If it was all the games, I think I'd get a little bit overwhelmed, and it's all political, I just get bored. So Hunger Games and Catching Fire, and I feel like Songbirds and Snakes is a good balance balance of both of the two that I really enjoy. So I have high hopes for this one, and this is the last one where I've already seen the movie, so like I know what to expect going into the book. Sunrise on the Reaping, all I know about that is how Haymitch wins the game, because that's told to us in the Catching Fire book. Other than that, I have no idea. I have not seen any spoilers either from other people reading it somehow, so I'm going with a pretty clear mind on that one. But yeah, this is the last one where I know what I'm getting myself into. We are now done with the cards. I'm going to put these back into the basket for probably next month. We'll use those again. I really like this half and half of the cards in the jar, so we might do it again. But last book we're going to pick from the jar prompts. I'm trying to get one from the bottom, but my hand is stuck. Okay, this one I can grab. Read a hardcover. Hardcover? I don't own many hardcovers. Slight problem. I have like 4 hardcovers and I don't want to read any of them. Forget what I said 2 seconds ago about not having a hardcover that I wanted to read, because I did have one. It was just hiding. Matthew Perry's memoir, Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I had this on my list last month, I think, or the month before, and I just didn't get to it, but I definitely want to get to it this month. First, because it's going to be a really quick and easy read, and I am really interested in reading it. But I'm also doing the Powell's Summer Book Bingo Challenge, and one of the prompts on there is to read a memoir, and this is the only one I have on my physical TBR right now, so I really want to read that for that prompt. I'm also planning to do a challenge video for the book bingo, so I might be reading this in that video, so I guess stay tuned to see. Let's go over these books quickly. Say You Swear by Megan Brandy for Choose a Book by an Indie Author. The Divorce by Freida McFadden for a book that has a good first line. The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green for a book that has won an award. Strange Houses for a recent purchase. Magnolia Parks for read the first book that is on your TBR list. First Lie Wins for Random Number Generator, letter F. Ballad, Songbirds, and Snakes for most popular book on my shelf. And Matthew Perry's memoir for a hardcover. So that's all I have. My battery's about to die. So thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon.